All right. Welcome, racers and race fans alike, to Radio Kart here on Karting TV. We are live from Davenport Kart Club in the Mississippi Valley Fair parking lot for race number 2 of the Wednesday night summer series. We are currently in the midst of practice at. Okay. Apologies, folks. We have a slightly wonky Wi Fi setup here. Not used this before, rather unfamiliar with it, but looks like the stream is in good health now. Not sure how much of what was just said was missed, but I was going down a bit of a history of this event, as well as the context for what we'll be witnessing tonight and the plans for the show. In case it got cut short, we will have driver interviews, news, and live action from the races. Right now, we have practice on track still. Heavy Senior. Your co-host Joseph Rapp is currently on track, so it's just going to be me, Nelson Ulinsky, for the time being. Um, lots of carts out there at the moment. We'll have even more out later. Total of 8 classes on tap tonight, as follows: Kid Kart, which have already gone out tonight; Yamaha Rookie, Briggs Cadet, Yamaha Junior, Briggs Junior, Briggs Senior, as seen at the moment. And following this, we'll have a brief practice session for Yamaha Cadet as well as Yamaha Senior before we get into the racing. There will be a driver's meeting at 6:50 tonight, so a bit of downtime at that point. But until then, we've got, I'm really not sure what we've got. To be honest, with most of these delays, I've kind of had to make a lot of this up as I go of sorts. But hopefully this gets better as the night proceeds. Looks like this track, this oval layout, is going to lend itself to a lot of tight and close racing. I haven't even really raced on an oval like this in quite a while. Mississippi Valley Fairground actually used to have a kart track, an oval to be exact, but that was decades ago. Kevin Williams here has revitalized the facility, and since its return to hosting go-karting racing, this is the first time it will be holding an oval race tonight, as I have said a few times already. Anyways, um, so the way they plan on doing things tonight, it looks like, is pair of heat races, each one with a random starting order to determine the lineup for the feature event. And then after the heats, a bit of a break for the national anthem and whatnot, and then onto the feature races, which those will be giving out points for this mid-summer championship series, Wednesday nights. But yes, yet again, folks, right live from the Mississippi Valley Fairgrounds. So if you are in the Quad Cities area, feel free to come on out, say hi to me, say hi to the racers. Got a concession stand open this time, so if you're feeling a bit hungry, they got food for you. And just come on out, enjoy the atmosphere, and enjoy the racing. This will be going on until 10 tonight, so even if you're a little hesitant and decide to come out later, this will be going on for quite a while. You may have noticed a change in the engine pitch on the karts that are out there at the moment. We have a lone Yamaha Cadet logging laps on this new layout. There appears to be a second kart, but he appears to have stalled perhaps right on the other end of the track, coming out of 4, just sitting there at the moment. For those of you unfamiliar, these Yamahas require an onboard starter, and I'm not quite sure if they have one down there or if there's something else. Oh, no. It looks like one of the corner workers has indeed produced a starting device, and the other kart is on its way out. I'm not that familiar with these Yamaha Cadet racers here, but these are younger children, not yet of age to race in the senior category, but a bit too big for Kid Kart. But yes, being Yamaha powered, these are powered by two cycle engines, um, which means a substantial amount of torque compared to their four cycle counterparts. Top speed is about the same, but they get up to that top speed a lot quicker. Okay, it looks like that the number 20, as it were, that had the issues is rolling again, just kind of feeling out the track. This track is quite different than what they normally run here, um, which, yes, as I've said, oval. But this oval, for those of you that are familiar with this facility, basically what they've done is they've halved the length of the front straightaway. They kept in the turn one 180-degree corner, added in a short chute, and then midway down the length of the parking lot, added in a corner that appears to be very similar to the first corner, looping it back onto the front straight. For those of you that may have raced at Sprint Kart Speedway in Mount Joy, Iowa, the oval seems to be of a similar size. Obviously, a lot smoother, so substantially faster. But yes, that is the layout, and it looks like the number 20 is having issues again, this time stalled out by the flag stand. Whatever issues are plaguing that kart, hopefully they get that resolved before the heats. It would be quite a shame to have only one kart for one of these races. But yeah, that is the status at the moment, and it looks like this session is going to come to an end, folks. Up next, it will be Yamaha Senior for their one and only practice session before the drivers' meeting. The 20 is fired. They will make their way back to the pits as the session has now ended. I really do hope, I wish them the best of luck and that they can iron out whatever issues they're having. That really would be very disappointing to have your race cut short because of a failure of some sort. Okay. Okay, and there are your Yamaha seniors for their practice session. A field of 4 karts here, which might not sound like a lot, but for these Yamahas, you really only need a group of really fast guys, close on speed, to have a good race, which we've seen at numerous other venues. So really, four carts, not that bad here. Out front right now, Michael Dittmer in the 77. He will be tracing the Triple Crown over the summer of the Yamaha Heavy Street races. That would include Quincy Grand Prix, held a few weeks ago, as well as the Elkhart Grand Prix, the Elkhart Grand Prix in Elkhart, Indiana, in early August, as well as the Rock Island Grand Prix Labor Day weekend. But until then, Dittmer will be honing his skills on this super short oval here at Davenport Kartway. And it looks like the 3 of the drivers have formed up into a nice pack here. We have Dittmer leading, followed by the 24 and the number 4. They all appear relatively on the same pace as far as speed goes. 24 may be slightly faster than Dittmer, but that may be down to the fact that he simply has the draft and can suck up behind him. The 48 appears slightly off the pace at the moment, but there are 2 heats and, of course, a feature. They could find some speed yet. That'll be an interesting kart to watch. So, very fast lap times here. I would imagine approximately maybe 12, 15 seconds tops to get around here. Yeah. Dittmer has allowed himself to go back to the third in this pack of 3 karts, probably getting a feel for how the what kind of speed the other karts have. And looks like my previous guess was correct in that the 3 are very similar on speed. This 24 seems to have a slight advantage going into turn 3, pulling out, yet the 4 and the 77 close right back up on the straights and corner exit. They also seem to be pulling away from the 48, who is going to have a lot of work cut out for them tonight. Currently, I'm camped out here in turn 1, and it looks like there's got a slight bump of sorts almost right between the transition of turns 1 and 2. That will be interesting to see how drivers handle that as the night goes on, as such a bump like that will probably disorient the kart and could potentially lose speed on corner exit. So it might be more advantageous of these drivers, in my humble opinion, to get the turning done early and power on through so they don't scrub off speed midway through. And that pack of 3 is still learning the track, nose to tail. The 24 seems to really struggle leaving 2, actually, mostly because of that bump that I was just mentioning. That's a very stiff kart. The number 4 and the 77 seem to have karts that are good all over, but the number 24 certainly has a kart that really works well on corner entry, which I think that's going to be crucial tonight as they use that to try and make passes going into these turns after these short straightaways. Already it looks like we've got a fairly decent crowd on hand here. Got a few bleachers lined up on the opposite side of turns 1 and 2. That's one of the advantages of having a kart track here in the heart of Davenport. You don't have to worry about driving very far. And then, of course, not just Davenport, but just how close it is in general, really, for the whole Quad Cities metro area, for anyone that would want to come out and see some racing. So, it would appear that this session is now over. The 48 was unable to find any speed, yet prevented themselves from being lapped in this practice session, which I know a thing or two about having to drive an ill-handling kart. So very well done to at least find enough speed to prevent themselves from being lapped on such a short and quick circuit. So that about wraps up our practice session for the practice sessions for the time being. There will be a mandatory drivers meeting soon over in the pits, so we'll have some downtime. Then after that drivers meeting, the racing will begin at 7. So until then, we'll have to find about 20 minutes to come up with stuff to talk about. Might be able to get a few interviews in, perhaps, before the drivers meeting begins, or right after it, before the racing. We'll see how things go. For those of you unfamiliar, kart racing is not the only form of racing held here at the fairgrounds. There is a dirt oval not far from here, which hosts weekend night racing every so often. I myself have never been, but racing is racing. I'll have to certainly check that out at some point. Got a nice set of temporary lights set up as this event will last past sundown. That was a bit of an issue at the last race. The parts of the track were quite dark. I mean, it was certainly adequate enough to race under, but it was not optimal and it was not the best. However, it certainly looks like they've got a better setup now with such a shorter course. On the insides of turns 1 and 2, they have these flood lamps set up, which currently are not on, but they look to be ready to go as soon as the sun goes down. Turns 3 and 4 have a similar setup, and got some old used tires set up around that in case someone loses control of their cart, so that we will not have to worry about any form of hard impact. There's plenty of runoff as well on the topic of safety. This facility, while it may be judged harshly, for being just a mere parking lot as opposed to a purpose-built racing facility, seems to be almost perfect for short track oval racing here. Of course, as far as the danger of it goes, got more than adequate runoff in case the issue arose of corner cutting. They have various, I'm not sure what you call those, discs of sort, I suppose, on the inside of the track to prevent anyone from cutting the track. That will definitely push the cart out wide, maybe even bend something if hit hard enough. And beyond that, even more farther inside, some bright painted white tires, which those discs won't stop them from cutting the track. Those tires certainly will. That would cause quite a bit of damage to the cart, I would imagine. I've never had to hit those. It's also got some white tires set up on corner exit to prevent people from running wide, which, as you'd imagine, at a parking lot like this, track limits would be difficult to enforce. So it certainly seems like they've got a good setup as far as preventing people from abusing track limits goes. Just a reminder, I have a concession stand open tonight. Did not have that the first race of the summer series, though it is usually there on the weekends. So, if you're hungry, you want to see some kart racing, come on down to the fairgrounds.
Drivers meeting at the scale, please. Drivers meeting at the scale.
And if the microphone did not pick that up, just announced on the PA system that the drivers meeting will be held at the weigh-in scale in the pit area just a few moments away. This would be about the ideal time to have a co-host to stop any of that dead air, I suppose. But, of course, your other co-host, Joseph Rapp, mandatory drivers meeting, he must be there, as are all the other drivers. So it looks like the idea of having an interview would probably be later in the night. But yes, it's currently 6:45, so they're actually quite a bit ahead of schedule. That Yamaha senior practice actually wrapped up at 6:40, and it was supposed to finish at 6:42. No, it was supposed to begin at 6:42. And the drivers meeting is set to begin at 6:50, which it may begin at 6:50. That's, well, no, they have all the drivers there now, so I suppose they'll be getting that underway. If anyone listening right now has any questions, feel free to drop a comment regarding either this facility, the current competitors, or just karting in general, and I would be happy to answer them. As well, if you feel anyone else would be interested in hearing what is going on, feel free to go ahead and recommend this channel to them. You know, always looking to get more subscribers, more viewers, expanding our audience and whatnot. So, suppose a review for those just joining us. We have 8 classes tonight. That would be Kid Kart, and this is the order of which they will be racing. So that would be the Kid Kart. They will be the first out at 7, followed by the Yamaha Rookie, then the Briggs Cadet class, which I'm not sure how they do that here. Briggs Cadet. I would like to say that would be Junior 1, then Yamaha Junior, followed by Briggs Junior as the 5th class up. Briggs Senior would be the 6th class up, followed by Yamaha Cadet, and then Yamaha Senior as the last class out tonight. As Briggs Senior, 500 to win, but that's not just the race. That would be for the entire summer series, which of course is 3 races. Seems like we may be having some stream issues here. Still have the stream up. That's another thing too. If you encounter any issues that we do not notice here with the stream, with the audio quality or anything, please drop a comment, and we will see to any issues are resolved quickly. But yes, the cash payout, as I was discussing, will be for Briggs Senior as well as Yamaha Senior. 500 to win in each one, and that would be cumulative championship points leader at the end of each championship. Which will, speaking of that last race will be mid-July. I'm not sure when that exact race would be. Seem to recall hearing the 17th, perhaps? No, the 17th would be a Tuesday. No, that's wrong. But yeah, mid-July. So, you know what? I have a computer right in front of me, so I should be able to check this out here. Ken Williams Memorial Summer Series. Ah, there we go. Wasn't that far off. July 18th will be the final race for this summer series. So this summer series, first race was held on the typical road course layout. Second race, as I have mentioned several times, will be on the oval. And then the final race will be on a yet-to-be-determined layout. It will either be yet again on the oval or the road course. I believe the drivers will be taking a vote on what they would prefer with Kevin Williams as to what he would want to do. And then they'll go from there. So maybe if I was a little closer to the action, I might be able to get some inside information on that. But I'll have to report on that later. Also to note, on the topic of track layout, the fair itself will be held after the final race of the summer series. And Kevin Williams has said that he is looking into doing a slight reconfiguration of the track following this. And no, by that I do not mean simply introducing a new layout, as he has done with the oval. He would like to simply reinvent the main road course layout, which would probably be following some of the complaints of safety. Doing a live broadcast for a podcast I do for this event. Have you been to a go-karting race before? No? Is this your first one? Would he or you want to do an interview? I'm doing a podcast.
It's dangerous.
Well, folks, it turns out we might have an interview before the racing gets underway.
You want to talk?
Hello, young man. What's your name?
Zandrin?
Nice to meet you. So, is this your, It's a little shy, I see. It's okay. Okay. So, is this your first ever go-kart racing?
It is.
It is, okay. I actually race myself. I doing this podcast, so yeah, it's kind of a new feature on our show. This track itself is kind of new. I'm sorry, and this is kind of my first time doing a event kind of like this, I suppose. So I don't really have that many interview skills. I'm going to be honest.
Not a problem at all.
Okay. Yeah. So what Sorry. Man, no, I am really not. I wanted to do an interview. I guess I just didn't think this through, like what kind of questions I wanted to ask here. Anyways, apologies. So yeah, this is a relatively new facility. First started holding racing just last year. You know anyone that's racing?
Actually, my sister's nephew is racing.
Oh, who's that? Not sure. Okay,
She just wanted to drag me out of the house.
I see. Well, yeah, no, this is a great facility. Very fun. Have a concession stand. Plenty of bleacher seating. So, oh yeah, and the racers themselves are very approachable too. So if you have any questions or just want to get to know any of the drivers, great place for that.
Yeah. You guys want to tell them bye? Oh, thank you.
Nice speaking to you, and
Nice.
I guess thanks for getting me in the groove of what an interview's gonna be like too.
Not a problem. Not a problem
yeah.
at all.
Oops. Enjoy the racing, and yes. Hello. Oh.
I'm Xavier.
Well, folks, that's some new karting fans right there. Here, have a nice night and enjoy the racing. So yes, there goes our first interview of the night, I suppose. Yes. Now, what was I talking about right before that? It would appear the drivers' meeting is still going on. It's probably the first time in a long time a lot of these guys have raced on an oval. I don't believe I've raced on an oval since 2015, maybe, back at Sprint Kart Speedway, my first ever year. Oval racing possesses its own challenges. A lot of people tend to think it's just left turns, which, yes, it might be just left turns, but you have to have such an emphasis on getting through those turns. Going through it so many times, you begin to realize you can't just make up ground on any other part of the track, so you have to be absolutely perfect with both your driving and your setup. Then on top of that, you're facing the other karts as much as you are the track, because the nature of an oval is that it is so short, you really cannot catch a break from having to race around other racers, other competitors. Alright, so it looks like we might be having a ever so slight battery issue. Unable to find an adequate power source for the time being. So we may have to go offline temporarily as this is resolved. But we have some time left. Some bugs out. It's always fun, I suppose. So, I will be taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I will be taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I will be taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I will be taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I will be taking a brief break, Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I will be taking a brief break. Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I will be taking a brief break. Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I will be taking a brief break. Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I will be taking a brief break. Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I will be taking a brief break. Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I will be taking a brief break. Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I will be taking a brief break. Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I will be taking a brief break. Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I will be taking a brief break. Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I will be taking a brief break. Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I will be taking a brief break. Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I will be taking a brief break. Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I will be taking a brief break. Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I will be taking a brief break. Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I will be taking a brief break. Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I will be taking a brief break. Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I will be taking a brief break. Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box.
So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. take a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm taking a brief break, seeing what I can do. I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm going to take a little brief break. Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm going to take a little brief break. Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm going to take a little brief break. Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm going to take a little brief break. Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm going to take a little brief break. Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm going to take a little brief break. Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm going to take a little brief break. Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm going to take a little brief break. Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I come back in the chat box. So until then, I'll be right back. I'm going to take a little brief break. Seeing what I can do, drop a comment when I come back. Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I can take a little brief break.
Not sure what's.
Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I can take a little brief break.
Not sure what's.
Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I can take a little brief break.
Not sure what's.
Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I can take a little brief break.
Not sure what's.
Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I can take a little brief break.
Not sure what's.
Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I can take a little brief break.
Not sure what's.
Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I can take a little brief break.
Not sure what's.
Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I can take a little brief break.
Not sure what's.
Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I can take a little brief break.
Not sure what's.
Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I can take a little brief break.
Not sure what's.
Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I can take a little brief break.
Not sure what's.
Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I can take a little brief break.
Not sure what's.
Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I can take a little brief break.
Not sure what's.
Seeing what
Starting fourth, and Joseph Rapp back in.
Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I can take a little brief break.
Not sure what's.
Seeing what
Looks like Chad Peppers gets the jump from the outside, takes the lead.
Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I can take a little brief break.
Not sure what's.
Seeing what
Looks like Chad Peppers gets the jump from the outside, takes the lead.
Seeing what I can do, I will drop a comment when I can take a little brief break. break. Not sure what one.
It looks like Chad Pepper's getting a jump from the outside.
Seeing what I can do, I will drop it from the end, taking a brief break. Not sure what one.
It looks like Chad Pepper's getting a jump from the outside.
Seeing what I can do, I will drop it from the end, taking a brief break. Not sure what one. Seeing
It looks like Chad Pepper's getting a jump from the outside.
what I can do, I will drop it from the end, taking a brief break. Not sure what one. Seeing
It looks like Chad Pepper's getting a jump from the outside.
what I can do, I will drop it from the end, taking a brief break. Not sure what one. Seeing
It looks like Chad Pepper's getting a jump from the outside.
what I can do, I will drop it from the end, taking a brief break. Not sure what one. Seeing
It looks like Chad Pepper's getting a jump from the outside.
what I can do, I will drop it from the end, taking a brief break. Not sure what one. Seeing
It looks like Chad Pepper's getting a jump from the outside.
what I can do, I will drop it from the end, taking a brief break. Not sure what one. Seeing
It looks like Chad Pepper's getting a jump from the outside.
what I can do, I will drop it from the end, taking a brief break. Not sure what one. Seeing
It looks like Chad Pepper's getting a jump from the outside.
what I can do, I will drop it from the end, taking a brief break. Not sure what one. Seeing
It looks like Chad Pepper's getting a jump from the outside.
what I can do, I will drop it from the end, taking a brief break. Not sure what one. Seeing
It looks like Chad Pepper's getting a jump from the outside.
what I can do, I will drop it from the end, taking a brief break. Not sure what one. Seeing
It looks like Chad Pepper's getting a jump from the outside.
what I can do, I will drop it from the end, taking a brief break. Not sure what one. Seeing
It looks like Chad Pepper's getting a jump from the outside.
what I can do, I will drop it from the end, taking a brief break. Not sure what one. Seeing
It looks like Chad Pepper's getting a jump from the outside.
what I can do, I will drop it from the end, taking a brief break. Not sure what one. Seeing
It looks like Chad Pepper's getting a jump from the outside.
what I can do, I will drop it from the end, taking a brief break. Not sure what one. Seeing
It looks like Chad Pepper's getting a jump from the outside.
what I can do, I will drop it from the end, taking a brief break. Not sure what one. Seeing
It looks like Chad Pepper's getting a jump from the outside.
what I can do, I will drop it from the end, taking a brief break. Not sure what one. Seeing
It looks like Chad Pepper's getting a jump from the outside.
what I can do, I will drop it from the end, taking a brief break. Not sure what one. Seeing
It looks like Chad Pepper's getting a jump from the outside.
what I can do, I will drop it from the end, taking a brief break. Not sure what one. Seeing
It looks like Chad Pepper's getting a jump from the outside.
what I can do, I will drop it from the end, taking a brief break. Not sure what one. Seeing
It looks like Chad Pepper's getting a jump from the outside.
what I can do, I will drop it from the end, taking a brief break. Not sure what one. Seeing
It looks like Chad Pepper's getting a jump from the outside.
what I can do, I will drop it from the end, taking a brief break. Not sure what one. Seeing
It looks like Chad Pepper's getting a jump from the outside.
what I can do, I will drop it from the end, taking a brief break. Not sure what one. Seeing
It looks like Chad Pepper's getting a jump from the outside.
what I can do, I will drop it from the end, taking a brief break. what I can do, I will drop a comment, take a brief break,
Practice session.
Testing. This is screen back. Testing.
Testing. Okay, I think we're back now. Okay, would appear we have our technical issues resolved here. Yamaha Senior Heat has just wrapped up, and man, missed a lot of action here, it looks like. Top four all very close together. The 24 takes the victory over the 75, followed by Dittmer in fourth, and then not sure who that is in fourth, and the number 14 in fifth. Well, as far as technical issues go, we apologize for any inconveniences. Again, it's our first time doing any live event like this from the side of a track. So, hopefully, playback works out well. So, we will be taking a very brief break as the first set of heat races have wrapped up. We will be back for more action from Davenport Kartway for the second set of heats.